Yo, what up, everybody? We're back at it with the Hopeless Gains podcast, episode 5. We're talking about coping mechanisms today. As always, we got our CEO and founder, Ryan Levitt, our COO, Adam, and I'm Mike, the VP. We're going to jump
And I'm
into
HR.
this. And Adam's HR. Yeah. It's what helps him sleep at night.
Whatever title he needs.
Ryan, start us off. I know you've got some good thoughts on this one.
I do. For me, coping mechanisms, there's a lot of them out there. One of them that I personally enjoy is the gym. We kind of discussed that in the signs and symptoms. When things are going rough or I'm feeling defeated or beaten down, it's the gym for me. That's probably my most healthy coping mechanisms. We kind of are going to cover healthy and negative. I think it's important that you recognize things you're doing that aren't necessarily beneficial when you're dealing with things mentally and emotionally.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Let's jump right in it. Adam, we're going to start with you. We want you to cover in your darkest moments, what are some coping mechanisms you used and were they negative and positive, and what are you trying to use now to deal with stuff?
So I have two coping mechanisms. One is music. I find music depends on how bad of a day I'm having, determines on the genre. Lately, it's been a lot of Citizen Soldier. If you guys don't know them, look them up. They're a good group. So that music, and then talking. Like I love to, like me and Ryan will spend hours talking, just venting and come up with solutions, or how our work week is going, or just personal stuff. Like we'll talk. Like me and Mike, we've talked. So my biggest coping mechanism, it's kind of a hard tie between music and just talking it out. Talking to a friend or family, whoever it is that you feel comfortable talking to. If it's one of us that you feel comfortable talking to, then we're okay with that.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
Has that always been the ones that you've used? Is just music and talking?
Like I went to the gym with Ryan and stuff like that. That was more for my personal, like confidence and everything else. But music, I always listen to music at the gym. Ryan listens to music at the gym. Mike, I'm sure you listen to music.
Me and Mike have the same playlist.
Yep.
For a while, me and Ryan had the same playlist. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's, we appreciate the positive coping mechanisms you had. But in your darkest hours, what were some of your negative mechanisms you were using? What were some things you were doing that were negative that at the time you didn't realize were dragging you further down?
I would go on drives with myself. I would go for a ride up at the canyon and everything else and blast music. And even with the music going there, it was not the, it was like, it was not the, I guess before I didn't really pay attention to lyrics. It was more just the sound. And the sound would not shut the demons out. And then alcohol was one. I just shut myself out from the world. We'd go weeks without talking, or we'd have like small talk, and it's really easy to have a small talk conversation over playing Call of Duty, but face to face, it's a lot harder to bullshit somebody when they're staring right back at you, going, "No, jackass."
Well, I hate small talk.
Yeah. And he tried to pry it out of me when I was out in Colorado and everything else.
Yeah.
But it's really hard. Like I said, it's really hard to, when you're having a face-to-face conversation, to, especially with the three of us, we definitely know the signs in each other, what we're feeding full of crap. Yeah. So, yeah, there's my negative.
Mike, in your darkest times, what were your negative ones? Because I know one,
Yeah.
and I want to see if you cover it.
Many.
Ryan knows ours. He's just waiting to see if we spill it.
We know his, so
Yeah,
we'll hold him to the same
we hold
standard.
each other honest.
Well, for the longest time, I didn't recognize them for what they were, but eating is a negative one of mine because it becomes big binge eating of just a bunch of garbage food. Get that little, eat a whole carton of ice cream and get a little hit of dopamine. Then feel worse the next morning or an hour later when I'm sick to my stomach.
Yep.
Eat an entire bag of Doritos by myself. Yeah. Dove into alcohol and drugs at one point, trying to numb the feelings. Smoking, nicotine in several different forms. And another one the one I still struggle with the most is self-isolation. Shit gets really bad. I just shut everything out. Start ghosting people. Yeah. Go 0 dark 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, a lot of those mornings when you were trying to get me to go to the gym and I was awake, I would just pretend not to, because
Yeah, I knew you were
Struggling.
full of shit about sleeping.
Yeah, I was struggling. So,
But
I was sleeping less than you were back then, probably.
I don't know if that's possible.
It was.
it was.
I struggled.
He did.
Now I sleep like a little baby.
Yeah, we
Wake
know.
up every hour and cry.
Yeah, that term "sleeping like a baby"
Bullshit.
not about getting sleep.
No. But on a more positive note, now I focus on the gym, or I try to. Physical exercise of any kind. Ryan and I say the gym, but it could be, go for a walk with my family, or go for a run with the dog, or go hit the weights, go hike up the mountain somewhere. And then music has become a huge one, especially over the last probably 18 months. It used to always just stick with the same kind of genres, but changing things up and actually focusing on how music made me feel has affected me in very positive ways. It's been part of that whole change that I've gone through. Started doing journaling and then actually opening up and talking to people.
Yeah.
That's probably the hardest one for me still, but it's probably the most beneficial.
Yeah.
So, did I cover the one you were hoping?
Yeah.
Which one was it?
Food.
Yeah.
I bring that up not to
Because he knows I'm fat.
not to fat
He's a
shame
dick.
him, but because it is a big thing, and I think a lot of people when they're struggling, they turn to junk food. It's comfort food, I mean, I do the same thing. These guys know I'm the gym guy. I like to go to the gym. It's my place. But when I'm struggling, I want more salty, savory foods. I want chips. I want crackers and cheese. I want those types of things. But it's crap food. It's processed. It's junk food. And
Yeah.
so I think we all struggle with that at one point in time or another when it comes to negative coping is binge eating something.
Some of us, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yep.
Yeah. So now you, Ryan.
Yeah.
What,
waiting.
in your darkness, when you almost pulled me back in it with you, what were your negative coping mechanisms?
I mean, mine was alcohol and drugs. I was drinking way more than I should have been. Nicotine also, there's still a few nights I don't remember because I blacked out and I still hear things and I think, wow, why was anybody around me? I'm grateful they didn't give up on me, but that was my biggest negative coping mechanism was drugs and alcohol.
At the same time.
Yes.
Sometimes.
It was never separate. Most of the time it was start with the alcohol and end with the drugs. Again, mine self-isolation. When I go quiet,
No,
When-
you don't do that.
never.
Quiet ginger. Mm.
That's when you know the world's gone dark.
Yeah.
You got a quiet ginger.
It was. To this day, I still catch myself. There's days where I don't say much or I don't talk to anybody. I go to work, I do my job, and I go home.
We're the same on that one. Today was a rough day. You guys came over and I had nodded off, snuggling Alice to sleep. But I woke up and I almost wanted to pretend like I was still asleep because it's where my headspace is at.
Yeah.
I'm in that self-isolation mode today. I didn't want to make this video.
But he's here.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I was gonna call
Doing
you.
the hard things.
I was gonna call you. I was gonna text you. I was gonna start kicking the door in.
Good.
I wasn't gonna let you go.
I needed it.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate, sometimes, like if you have had a rough day or it's just been like too much, having quiet thoughts and everything else to yourself isn't always a bad thing. It's when it makes it a habit to where you have a bad day after day after day and you do nothing but isolate yourself. Sometimes we all just want to quiet, like don't even listen to music. We just go for a quiet ride.
Adam, with that, I read something the other day and I thought it was pretty powerful, and it was talking about, how to set yourself up for success and what to do when you're struggling, and, how to set yourself up to succeed. And I read something that was pretty interesting. It said, every day, leave one small task undone when you go to bed so that the next day you can have a small win. Whether it's leave a pair of socks on the floor so that when you get up in the morning, you put those socks in there and you start your day off with a win. Or, leave them till you get home from work. And if you're struggling and you're just feeling isolated, you can go in there and like, oh yeah, I need to put those away. And you put your socks in dirty clothes, and it sounds silly, but I've started doing something like that where it's something as simple as I don't rinse my protein shaker out. I'll use it for my pre-workout and I'll set it in my sink. And then when I get home from work and it's been a rough day or I've just, had a lot going on in my personal life, I go in and rinse it out, put it in the dishwasher, turn it on, and I've accomplished something. And it really has helped improve my mood and my coping with it. Like, it's like, hey, something as little as this, I can now tackle something else little, and it just little steps. Journaling has been a huge one. Mike got me onto that a few months ago when I was going through some really rough stuff with, moving into a new house, not living with my kids anymore, and coping with that type of stuff. Journaling helped me write out a lot of feelings and express things that when I tried to talk about them, I would just shut down and be like, nope, we're going to go over here and see this squirrel because I'm not talking about this one.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, when you said don't rinse out your protein shake, I got a bad flashback from the organic proteins.
Yeah, no, I only put pre-workout in them now. I've learned my mistake. I make protein shakes in the blender with lots of different add-ins.
He had an all-natural chicken protein that he left in a hot car in his protein shaker, and there was a little bit left. We threw it out.
Did not.
We threw it out. We didn't even open it because it was
No.
seeping through into the car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Oh, dude, it was bad.
But no, back to what Ryan said. Me and him had a discussion about this. I think it was this past weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yesterday and this morning, I purposely left a shirt out. So I started off the day with a win. Regardless of how crappy the job is, I'm an electrician, if people watching don't know. And so sometimes when doing construction, you have a good day or there can be a lot of drama. And so I just start off my day with a win. Just hung a shirt up. And it worked. It actually started out really good, followed by 2 rock stars, but I need some caffeine.
Caffeine is part of daily life. At least for those of us that are normal. Some people are like, oh, I'm not drinking caffeine anymore.
What are you talking about? I had 4 energy drinks today.
Oh,
went
well,
from 0 to 4
okay,
in
well,
one day.
He's alive. He's alive.
Guys,
0 to 4
it's
in
okay.
one day.
We had set up a stay at the mental hospital for Mike because he was saying he's quitting caffeine. I was really concerned about his mental
I
health.
did quit.
But no, and we're joking, guys, but a coping mechanism, we've talked about ours, but yours can be anything that is positive. You want to make sure it's positive. You want to make sure it's helping you move forward or move past or deal with the feelings you're having. I think that is the biggest thing for a coping mechanism is you have to deal with the feelings. And you got to find a way to do that that's in a positive way.
I think it's important to note that a negative coping mechanism avoids the problem.
Yeah.
Drowns it out,
Yeah.
avoids it, ignores it, whatever you want to call it. And a positive one allows you the opportunity. It won't ever force you, but it allows you that opportunity to actually work through your issues and to deal with them, which is what we actually need. And so that's what we define as a positive coping mechanism versus a negative one. Things that just numb the pain. Drugs, alcohol, vegging in front of the TV, binge eating, garbage food, self-isolation to the point of going weeks without talking to those around you. You're able to ignore or numb those feelings.
Yeah.
For us, gym and music, and at least 2 of us journaling, is how we've really been dealing with them.
Yeah.
Actually dealing with them and becoming better men and brothers, better husbands, better boyfriends, dads, better just guys. Because you're none of those things that I listed. You're a brother.
You're a
better
brother.
brothers. But they help us be better all around people when we deal with them. So
One I thought about too, and when I was younger, my parents always they'd buy me puzzles and stuff, and I was telling my dad about it. 'Cause he said you used to always love doing puzzles. I said yeah, because when I was younger, like instead of talking about what was going on inside my head, I would do a puzzle. It would numb the pain and turn my brain off of what I've been dealing with since if you guys saw my video since the 6th grade. And so I don't mind doing puzzles now, but it's just a reminder of that when I see a puzzle or do one, my family will always call me like, hey, we're struggling, we can't do a puzzle. I
Adam
don't-
swoops in as Iron Man and saves the day.
Puzzle man.
Puzzle Man.
But
Love it.
But it's a reminder that growing up, that's what I used to do. I didn't realize it was a negative coping mechanism, but it turned into one where I just do them over and over again. I take them apart and start over.
Well, and that's for me, it was reading when I was a kid. I couldn't read very well, but then I started to read and I enjoyed it so much that then I started to ignore everything else and just read. Like you said, to shut my brain off, to disappear into a book. And I think that's the hard thing, because I feel like any positive coping mechanism could eventually turn into a negative one.
Yeah.
Other than journaling. I have yet to see that turn into something negative, but I've even heard of guys that have started in the gym to try and deal with their mental issues, and then it gets to the point where they're in there so much and that's all they live for, they end up losing girlfriends or wives. Their kids hate. You're not there yet. We won't let you get there.
Not yet, but I was at one point.
But yes, you were at one point. But it will. It's a fine line. It can get to a point.
Yes.
And what you need is that circle of men around you to be able to be like, easy, bro. You got to step this one back a little bit, rein it in, because this one's getting close. Because I think that's the natural tendency, at least for me, is to find something, hey, this is starting to work, and then I'll lean into it, and then it's working so good that I'm like, hey, now it's on cruise control, and I can ignore my emotions again, and it's going to fix itself. Yeah. And so I have to be careful.
What Mike's talking about. We did not try different pre-workouts. So me and Ryan, when we were
How
living
many
in a
free
same-
workouts do you have at your house right now? 7?
Oh, that's
All right.
that's baby numbers compared to what we had.
I
Oh, yeah,
found
I
the
know.
answer to that question scares people.
I have 2.
So we
Different
went on. Short story here. We went on Psychotic Insane Labs website, and there was a lot when me and Ryan during COVID and everything else. We were trying Psychotic, and then their next one up was Red Rum. Then I got to the point where that didn't do anything, and so we tried Woke AF from Steel, and that wasn't strong enough. So we took 2 scoops. After we and him actually had a heart-to-heart conversation, and he finally told me, he's like, I miss my kids, and they were fighting at the time, and I didn't, to me it just seemed like, we were kids, we were siblings, we didn't get along with our siblings all the time, we pick on them or whatever, and it got to Ryan really bad, and he finally opened up, and after we opened it up, we went back to, I believe, Insane Labs. We went to Red Rum, and both of us were tingling inside the gym. And we were like, is this normal? I'm itchy. Is this normal? And it was amazing that the difference in just having a conversation made the pre-workout for the gym. And we started noticing we weren't even focused at the gym. We turned the music up so loud that people would be like, I think he needs hearing aids.
I still do that, but I'm deaf from years and years of just blasting it into my head.
I get the alert on my phone every day.
Every day.
Based on the loudness of your earbuds the last 7 days, you should turn it down.
Nah.
So
Turn it
glad I have a
back up.
Samsung, so I don't have to remind me that's do you need help? Find your local psychiatric ward near you.
Yeah, that's what Apple should start doing.
That's what Apple
Thanks,
I think that's
Siri.
actually what that is, and we just read it as turn your music down.
Music
Oh, shit.
People at Apple are like,
What are these dummies
these
doing?
guys need some help. They've listened to Custer by Slipknot so much.
Yes. But, I think, Mike, I think you're right. I think that's a good thing to talk about and end on is, as you're doing these coping mechanisms, you're finding positives and trying to eliminate negatives. Just be careful with your positive ones because they can turn negative. I know at one point in time I was spending 2 hours in the morning and 2.5, 3 hours at night at the gym. I'd go to work, I go to the gym, I go to work, I go to the gym. And it does start to affect relationships and yourself. You can only do so much before your body just can't take it anymore inside the gym. Music, again, you can use that to start drowning things out. Just be very careful. If you start finding yourself using it to numb the pain instead of help address it, then it's time to switch to something different. Find a different outlet. I do softball, I do disc golf, different things like that. And for a while there, I was playing softball 5 to 7 days a week. I was doing Monday through Friday league nights, tournaments all weekend long. And it was because I could go out there and play softball all night and I didn't go home, didn't have to deal with anything. Now I play it for fun. I enjoy just going out and having a good time and playing, and a lot of the people I play with are really close friends of mine now. So you can also turn a negative into a positive. So keep that in mind, guys. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode, and everybody have a great day.